So I want to actually go back and talk about lesson 12, part 7, which is in the previous lesson. I've actually had a couple of requests to go back and talk this through just because it actually requires a few moving parts. So let's take a look at that. So in this part, it actually wants you to do a couple of things. It wants you to take a sprite, and when you press the up, down, left, and right arrows of that sprite, it wants that sprite to actually move in that direction. But not only does it want you to do that, it also wants you to change the animation so it looks like that sprite is facing the direction that you are pressing. So let's tackle that. So first thing I'm gonna do is go to my animation tab and see what we have there. They've created a bee, a fly, and a ladybug for you already. You only need one of these. I actually am quite fond of the ladybug, so I'm gonna keep that one. And I'm gonna go ahead and delete the fly and the bee. Now with my ladybug, you can see it's already facing towards the right. And I just wanna rename this animation. So, because later on in the code, when I have it change animation, I want to make sure that I know which direction it's facing. And now I need to now make it so that this ladybug is facing all 4 directions. So I'm actually going to go to this little symbol right here, which is called duplicate, and it's just going to make a copy of what I have over here. And now I'm going to have this ladybug now face the left. So I'm actually going to go over here to this flip vertically. And all that's going to do is mirror my animation, so it now looks like my ladybug is facing the left. I'm going to rename the animation ladybug underscore left. So again, when I look at the code, I know exactly which animation I'm choosing and what it's doing. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm now going to rotate it with this little arrow symbol over here. Now it's facing downwards, so I'm going to rename that down. The last one, last duplicate, I'm going to use this arrow again to get my ladybug to face up and rename that up. Perfect. So we're going to go back to our code, and we see here that we've created initial position, initial variable for this sprite. It's just called bug, nice and simple. And the starting position of this sprite is going to be at 200, 200, which lands us right in the middle of our grid. It's also set to an animation right now. Now, here we want to be careful because right now, Ladybug, the name, I just changed all the names of the animation. So there's currently no animation that's just called Ladybug. And so your computer is going to freak out when you try to run this because it will be like, there's nothing in the animation tab called Ladybug. So let's actually have our sprite face in the right direction, towards the right at first. And that's just how it's going to start off. Okay. Here, we're actually going to now get it to start moving in the direction that we want. So I'm going to take this if statement, and this is just if the right arrow is pressed. So if we're looking at something being pressed, we have to go to this key down code. Just going to put it right there. And we're starting off with the right arrow. So first starting with the right arrow, what do we want it to do? Well, first thing we want to make sure that the animation, just rename that bug, that animation is set to the right. And then we want it to move to the right. So if I look at the grid here, on the x-axis, if we're moving towards the right, we're increasing on the x-axis. So 2 things we need to know here. First, that we do need a sprite.x, rename that. And that because we are increasing on the x, we are going to need this plus sign right here. So we're going to say our bug should be moving on the x-axis. Let's give it, say, like 2 steps at a time. Right. I'm actually going to move all this down. Okay. We got to now do this for all of the directions. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy it and paste it 4 times and now work from here. So next we did the key down right. Now let's say we want him to go left. We're going to go here and drop down. We're going to find left. And that animation, instead of the picture of him looking like he's facing towards the right, we want the picture where he's facing left. So we're going to change that animation. Since we're still going side to side, we're still using the X value, which is great, but we're now no longer increasing on the X. If we're going towards the left, we're actually decreasing on the X, getting closer to 0. So I'm going to use a minus sign here. Rename bug. I'll take 2 steps closer to 0 here. Got right and left. Now let's do down. Again, find the correct animation that we made that makes it look like he's facing down. And we got to change all this out because now we're no longer looking at the X. If we're going up and down, we're looking at the Y now. So we're going to rename that. And what's great about this is that we can actually keep this plus sign because remember, unlike math, we are actually increasing on the Y when we go further down. So that's that distinction between what you've been taught in math class and how this grid works here. And finally, we have up. Change our animation to the up one. And here we got to swap out everything. So we need this to be Y. Rename that. Since we're going up, we're actually getting closer to 0 on the Y. So we actually need a minus sign. And now, for animations, we have that draw sprites. This should be good. We got all the directions, all our animations set for the right direction. And now let's run and test it out. So this, again, is just this top part right here. Right? We created a sprite, we gave it a position, we set it to this animation where it's facing on the right. We have our background going continuously in the draw loop, so it should be replacing the after image of the bug when it moves with the white background so it doesn't leave that lingering image. So it should actually just look like it's moving. And let's test out all these keys one by one. So key down right, I'm going to press the right arrow on my keyboard. And look at that, it's moving. Beautiful. For key down left, it should be doing 2 things. It should first change the animation so it looks like my ladybug is facing towards the left, and then it should move to the left. Perfect. I'm now going to press the down arrow key, and it's going to do the same thing. Face downwards, move downwards. Beautiful. And last one is the up arrow key, and it should move upwards. Perfect. And there you go.